Thank you for watching Times News with me, Jawes Banda. First, the headlines. President Lazarus Chakwera says tiresome processes investors meet in Malawi is affecting economic and infrastructure development. The Malawi Congress of Trade Unions rejects a proposal to meet the Ministry of Labour over the Labour Relations Amendment Bill. And Malawi to benefit from 20 million doses of Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines expected to arrive in Africa by August. We have these and other stories. Please stay tuned. President Lazarus Chakwera has directed the Ministry of Labour to iron out what he calls long, slow and cumbersome processes investors meet in Malawi. He made the directive during the official launch of the Shire North Railway Bridge in Balaka district on Tuesday. President Chakwera said the processes and procedures are scaring away investors, which he said is affecting economic and infrastructure development. More in this report by Justin Mkweo.
Chakwera said many investors from across the world are already interested to invest in Malawi. He added that in most cases, these investors are frustrated by Malawi government officials, a development which drives them to other countries. Chakwera has since ordered Deputy Minister of Transport Nancy Mdoko up until the next sitting of Parliament to give him a proposal on possible solutions to challenges Malawi's transport sector faces.
I'm therefore directing that you fix this because we don't need that mess. I want you to work with other relevant NDAs to create a clear process that tells investors where and when the process starts and ends.
Mdoko says her ministry will act on President Chakwera's order after consultations with stakeholders.
We'll go through the directive, but it's a process because for one to be awarded a contract, he or she has to go to the Justice, OPC, Ministry of Transport, so it's a procedure. And we just need maybe to resign the circular that was done before.
The Shire North Railway Bridge is 165 meters long and is located along the railway line between Limbe in Blantyre and Nkaya in Balaka. It has been constructed to the tune of $13 million. Nakala Logistics, a consortium of railway companies, director Gustavo Stein says construction of the bridge means a lot to their operations.
This new bridge will bring us the capacity to bring heavier trains from Nakala to Limbe, as well as from Limbe to Nakala. It means that we can increase the capacity for each train we have at least in 33%. With the same size of train, we can bring more 33% of cargo. But plus on that, we can bring the heavier locomotives we have, and it means that we can bring much more cargo.
Nakala Logistics has a capacity to ship 700,000 tons of cargo and is now working towards making it 1 million tons per annum.
That's a story concerning Ministry of Transport. The Malawi Congress of Trade Unions, MCTU, has rejected a proposal by the Ministry of Labour to hold discussions over the Labour Relations Amendment Bill and the Employment Bill ahead of its scheduled nationwide demonstrations slated for Thursday. Deputy Minister of Labour, Vera Kamtukule, disclosed this in Lilongwe on Tuesday during a media briefing. Her ministry organized to clarify some of the misconceptions regarding the bills. More in this report.
Malawi Congress of Trade Unions Secretary General Madaliso Njolomole confirmed the development on Tuesday afternoon, saying they saw no reason of meeting the Ministry of Labour after the passing of the bills. Njolomole said the fate of the bills is no longer in the hands of the ministry after they were passed by Parliament, saying the only person who has powers to make a decision on the bills is President Lazarus Chakwera.
I would love to have a meeting with the person who has powers not to attend these bills, and this person is His Excellency, the State President, Dr. Lazarus Makape Chakwera. So that's why we rejected to meet the ministry for this particular reason.
Briefing reporters in Lilongwe on Tuesday, Kantukule said the bills are designed to help Malawi attract more investors.
The misunderstanding, I think, is coming from the fact that they are saying that if we are saying that you can still go on a strike but you are not going to be paid, then we are inherently taking away the right to strike, which is what is the misconception there. Because, I think then it's inconsistent even with the laws of logic. How should you be paid for not doing work?
She said the current labor laws are a bit scary to investors. Meanwhile, the Human Rights Consultative Committee has asked President Lazarus Chakwera to address workers on the matter to avert industrial actions. HRCC chairperson Robert Nkwezalamba said President Lazarus Chakwera has an opportunity to rescue Malawi from a situation like that happening in South Africa.
I would appeal to the President and leadership in general to rise above the occasion and attempt to address the Malawian workers, preferably before the strike day. Would have loved if they spoke to the nation and said he is not going to sign.
Among other things, the Labour Relations Amendment Bill proposes a no pay for no work where employees decide to go on an industrial action.
The World Health Organization, WHO, has disclosed that Malawi will benefit from 20 million doses of Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines expected to arrive in Africa by August. The vaccines have replaced AstraZeneca because the producer, India, has run out of the vaccines due to high cases of COVID-19 in that country. The organization urged Malawi to start preparing for storage facilities for the new type of vaccines. Matthews Kasanda has the details.
WHO representative to Malawi, Dr. Noshansha Dlamini, says the vaccine is a donation from the United States of America through the COVAX facility in coordination with the African Union. Dlamini was speaking during the presentation of ambulances by the Global Fund to the Ministry of Health in Lilongwe.
WHO, that's why we play a very important part, because we must guide countries how to introduce these different vaccines. You know, for instance, the Johnson & Johnson, you don't need 2 shots like AstraZeneca, you just need 1. So you can't then say someone who got AstraZeneca first dose, now they're due for second dose, therefore we'll pitch in, we'll give Johnson & Johnson. It doesn't work like that.
Dlamini explained that the initial approved long-term storage of Pfizer was minus 70 degrees Celsius, but the updated guidance from WHO and European Medicines Agency extends the storage requirement to between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius for 31 days. Minister of Health Kumbize Kandodo Chiponda says the country can manage to store and use the new vaccine.
So we have added Pfizer on our list of vaccines, and we have also added Johnson & Johnson. And Johnson & Johnson, I think the most advantage is that you only have to get 1 jab, unlike the Pfizer and AstraZeneca where you need 2. But for Johnson & Johnson, you only have to get 1 jab.
The WHO has disclosed that Senegal and South Africa will establish vaccine manufacturing plans to reduce Africa's 99% dependence on vaccine imports.
Meanwhile, the Global Fund has handed over 56 ambulances to the Ministry of Health to respond to COVID-19 emergencies, among others. The ambulances are equipped with oxygen cylinders that can be used when transporting COVID-19 patients who need oxygen. The donation also includes 64 motorcycles and medical equipment. Minister of Health Kumbize Chiponda asked her ministry officials to utilize the ambulances for the intended purpose.
So my appeal was that we need really to have very good maintenance programs for our equipment, for our ambulances, because we have noted that in most of the district hospitals, if you go behind the hospital, you find a lot of wastage in terms of equipment which has been damaged, in terms of ambulances. Maybe they just need a small thing to fix, but we lack a proper maintenance programs in our policy-wise in our hospitals. So I was making an appeal to make sure that the directors of health and social services from the district hospitals who are present this morning, I made an appeal to them that we need to take care of these things.
CHAM Executive Director Hape Makala thanked the Ministry of Health for considering them with 9 ambulances, which he said would help in the fight against COVID-19. The Anti-Corruption Bureau, ACB Director General Martha Chizuma, has vowed to decisively deal with corruption in wildlife and forestry products, which has resulted in the country's forests turning into deserts. Chizuma was speaking in Lilongwe during the launch of a report analyzing the role of corruption in enabling wildlife and forest crime in Malawi. We have more in this report by Rebecca Chimcheka, read in our studios by Taonga Sabola.
Speaking during the launch of the report, Chizuma said persons responsible for corrupting public officers will be vigorously pursued and that the proceeds of the crimes will be confiscated. She said public officers involved in the illicit trade will also not be spared.
There's a moral obligation on ACB, but also each and every Malawian to ensure that the issues of corruption that are within this sector are dealt with swiftly and severely. So as ACB, I think to keep our eyes open. One thing that I also mentioned is that despite all these allegations, the cases are not coming to ACB. So we are not aware of those, and I think since I've been in the office, I've only seen one twice.
Malawi Parliamentary Conservation Caucus co-chairperson Werani Chirenga described the report as timely, saying there is no government ministry, department and agency where the culture of impunity, wastage and theft is not entrenched.
We have been together with the Director General of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, and she has witnessed the launch herself, and we hope that from now onwards we are going to see a lot of changes, especially in terms of implementation of our laws in this country when it comes to manning of our roadblocks, where we have seen that police officers are very, very corrupt.
The report was commissioned by the Malawi Parliamentary Conservation Caucus with funding from the U.S. Forest and Wildlife Services as well as the Lilongwe Wildlife Trust.
Malawi Electoral Commission, MEC, will soon meet to map the way forward whether to progress with constituency demarcation amid the new COVID-19 restrictions. MEC chairperson Justice Chifundo Kachali said the commission will meet within 7 days to decide if it is proper and workable to continue with the exercise or wait for COVID-19 figures to drop. From Zuzu, Sam Kalimira reports.
Recently, government imposed restrictions on COVID-19, which among others limit gatherings to 50 people. Malawi Electoral Commission demarcation gatherings usually attract huge participants from different stakeholders, including those from political party leaders. In an interview, Malawi Electoral Commission chairperson Justice Chifundo Kachali said the commission will meet within 7 days to decide if it is proper and workable to continue with the exercise or wait for COVID-19 figures to drop. However, a source at Malawi Electoral Commission has told Times that the demarcation calendar is not yet out. The source said some MEC top officials and commissioners are currently in Nigeria and Ghana to learn how demarcation exercise can successfully be implemented. MEC has been conducting consultative meetings on demarcation exercise, and political parties have been key stakeholders. Officials from Malawi Congress Party, Democratic Progressive Party and UTM recently said they need transparency when MEC will be handling the exercise and requested the electoral body to make use of political party leaders in constituencies for a clear boundary. The demarcation exercise budget is pegged at around 1.5 billion kwacha, and the Treasury has so far provided 500 million kwacha.
You're watching the news on Times TV. We'll be back after this break.
Like every mom, you want the best for your child.
Happy birthday.
You feed her mind and nurture her body. And you understand there are times you have to let her pick herself up when she falls. You make sure she knows the joy of sharing happy moments with family. And when everything comes together, you above all others will share the taste of success with her. Blue Band tastes like mama's love.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
When it comes to food, we all have our preferences. Say Sima, for example. Some like it soft. Some like it hard. And others, well, they like it medium. But whatever your preference, the flour that you use matters. Imagine a flour that has been a quality product for generations, ready-made, conveniently available, full of vitamins and minerals, better than any other, trusted by families for decades. Sunshine cream of maize and Snow White Ufoera, just how you like it.
Welcome back to the news. The Livingstonia Synod of the Church of Central Africa Presbyterian, CCAP, has sold part of its Bandawe Mission land in Karabe district, which is about 34 hectares large, to Malawi Defense Force MDF, Times has established. The MDF has for the past months been in discussions with the Synod, seeking part of the land to establish a marine camp within the mission land. From Zuzu, Sam Kalimera reports.
Malawi Defense Force Acting Public Relations Officer Major Emmanuel Kelvin Mnelemba neither confirmed nor denied the development, but only said it is a security matter that cannot be discussed in the media. However, Livingstonia Synod General Secretary Reverend William Tembo confirmed the development but said the church has not yet received any payment. Tembo said Malawi Defense Force top officials approached the Synod Executive Committee members and resolved to sell the land at an undisclosed price. He said the soldiers have 5 reasons why they want the land.
Maharo amene ife tipereke ku MDF ndi maharo ochepa kwambiri 34 hectares.
The land that will give to MDF is small as compared to the one that the community will give them. We are committing 34 hectares of land to MDF. They have opted for our land because it is so strategic. This is the place where missionaries used to dock their ships. MDF has currently no money. It is waiting for the government to give them.
Tembo's comment comes after some social media buzz that the church leadership has started using the money for personal businesses. However, Tembo said once they are given the money, the church will locate households living on the land to some areas. He then asked concerned Malawians not to be frustrated by the move, saying Bandawe Mission will be developed once the deal is finalized. According to the church, chiefs will also have to sacrifice some hectares of land to MDF, saying the 34 hectares of Synod will not be enough for the project.
At a time, government and stakeholders are working hard to end cases of defilement in the country. The defilement law is facing resistance among young people who allege that the law only favors girls. Apparently, there is a case dubbed Romeo and Juliet, which resumes in court on Wednesday, and our reporter Thomas Kachere went around to solicit views of young people.
Defilement law continues to stir up the debate among the people, as some feel the law is discriminatory in nature.
To some extent, it's not promoting the sense of gender equality itself. It's like it's favoring the girl child, not the boy child. Because If the boy and the girl they're doing sex, sometimes not the boy that starts the thing, but the girl can also start the thing.
I think it's not good that only boys should be arrested. Also, girls should be arrested because they made an agreement so that they should sleep with each other. So it's not a good decision to only arrest boys.
When they are doing their relationship, all of them agreed that they should do this particular thing at this hour, at this time, at this place. They are agreeing on everything. So they should both be jailed.
I think the law is not fair because if they are to arrest one person, that is to say the boy, that means they have to arrest the other one, the girl.
Both of them need to be arrested just because that means if they agreed that they need to do sex, that means they were ready for that. So if they only arrest one person, then they are doing unfair.
My comment is boys are like there are people who force us to do this thing because we girls we have this thinking capacity so very low. We can't say yes or no to something that we have to do.
The law is favoring most girls, not boys, because maybe sometimes the girl tempted you to sleep with her, not you. Well, the government should look back on that.
For me, I don't think it's like to be arresting boys only because they are all minors. So I think the government officials have to review the law.
However, there is a case coming on Wednesday in the High Court dubbed Romeo and Juliet, whose applicant is a 15-year-old boy who was in a romantic relationship with a 13-year-old girl. On 1st January 2021, the applicant had consensual sex with the girl. On the same day, he was summoned at Cholo police station following a complaint by the girl's parents. On 9 January 2021, the applicant was brought before Cholo Magistrate Court and was formally charged with the offense of defilement contrary to Section 138, subsection 1 of the Penal Code. The applicant wants the constitutional review in the matter.
In international news, female survivors of the war against the Islamic State have opened a new women-run restaurant in the northern Iraq city of Mosul, providing homemade food for residents and an economic lifeline for themselves. VOA's Kawa Omar reports from the region in this story narrated by Namo Abdullah.
At the Taste of Mosul, a restaurant at the heart of war-torn Mosul, Iraqi women run the show. Most of the restaurant employees are widows of the war against the Islamic State. They have become breadwinners of their families, challenging the deeply rooted traditions against women working outside.
This restaurant has been more helpful to us than our relatives and people. We get tired here, but we don't need anyone. We only need God, and thankfully, we work hard here to hold our heads high.
The restaurant is more than an economic lifeline for its employees. It provides an escape from the horrors of war that these women have faced in their lives.
Certainly it can be hard to work here, but what is more difficult is when you are in need. Thank God, despite the hard work, we are happy. It's psychologically relieving to work here.
The Taste of Mosul is a delivery-only restaurant. Every day, the employees get up early in the morning to prepare homemade food before they head out on deliveries throughout Mosul and its outskirts.
I deliver food only to women customers. When men order food, we have men who will deliver to them. I do this job, though the pay is not much. My mother's sick, and I need to help her.
The women appear to be constantly on the move, but not in a hurry. Calls for delivery keep coming in, a sign that the restaurant is becoming increasingly popular.
Homemade food is more popular than restaurant food. It's clean and prepared by the hands of Moslawi women. We cater to on-demand customers.
This restaurant offers more than just a meal. It provides a sense of normalcy in the chaos brought on by the IS extremists years after they were defeated. For Kawa Omar reporting from Mosul, Iraq, Namo Abdullah, VOA News, Washington.
That's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines once again. President Lazarus Chakwera says tiresome processes investors meet in Malawi is affecting economic and infrastructure development. The Malawi Congress of Trade Unions rejects a proposal to meet the Ministry of Labour over the Labour Relations Amendment Bill. Malawi to benefit from 20 million doses of Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines expected to arrive in Africa by August. Remember, you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page, Times 360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times 360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up. Please stay safe. You have been with me, Jawes Banda. Goodbye.
Showmax. You've heard the name, but what exactly is Showmax? Well, it's an online streaming service that's packed with the very best in international and local entertainment, ready and waiting for you to watch when you want.